Welcome back, Shalligators. As promised, today we are going to talk about Taylor Swift's breakup with Joe Alwyn. Taylor and Joe. So we hear almost nothing about Taylor Swift's personal life. Unlike all of her other previous relationships, which I feel like we were part of, like we were like a silent third party in all of her other relationships because they were just all over the place and she was tweeting. She kept this really, really low pro. Like we haven't heard about anything personal from Taylor since her relationship with Joe Alwyn started 6 years ago, which blows my mind. If you would ask me, I thought they were together, I don't know, maybe 6? Yo, we're going to break down what might have happened. There's some theories out there, mostly started by me, I'm sorry. And talk about how to move on from a long-term relationship. How to move on when you want to be moving on. And how to move on when you don't. When you thought this person was the one, and instead of getting a ring on your finger, you got a suitcase by the door. We're going to get into it. But before we do, summer is coming. We're all thawing out. We're getting tans on our legs. You know, we're horny and hopped up on the idea of crawling out of our winter caves. And that means dating and that means confusion, right? Guys, I'm here to help. My new course, Happy Endings, is a 5-day text-based course designed to help you succeed on dating apps. You sign up, within 15 seconds, you get the first video sent straight to your phone. You get 5 videos in 5 days. I'm going to cover everything from how to make your profile, what to put on there, what makes you swipeable, what makes you repellent. Are you representing yourself in a bad way? Do you think you're making a profile that guys like, but really you're turning everyone off? I'm going to tell you what to look for in a man's profile, how to swipe with intention, how to avoid the trap of having a pen pal where you just text all the time and you never meet up. And most importantly, how to act on a date. Because it sounds easy until you sit down across that booth from someone and you're like, fuck. I'm going to tell you what to do, red flags to look for, green flags, how to set up a second date, and how to set you two up for a long-lasting, healthy relationship. Go ahead and click down below and save. I got you. Okay, Taylor and Joe. Like I said, we haven't heard hide nor hair of Taylor, so I find it a little hard to believe that all of a sudden, as she's embarking on this huge tour and wants more eyes on her and more publicity, that just now there's a leaky part of the ship, right? That someone's blabbing. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, based on my experience as a celebrity magazine editor for 7 years, the source is her. Because the information is so bland. The information is so incredibly bland. It was nothing dramatic. The relationship just ran its course. That kind of sounds like a PR spin that you're hoping to just kind of like put it in a corner and not really have people talk about it all that much. But then why leak it in the first place? I don't know. And then we have to think, like, does bland and diplomatic, is that Taylor? Not historically. No, she's a huge finger pointer. We have done a lot of videos on Taylor and how she is the consummate victim narrative. And so many of you guys have said, like, I swear to God, Shallon, she watches your videos because I think her song Anti-Hero is like based on what you said about her. I don't think that's true, but I like to believe it. If my mom asks, I'll be like, of course Taylor Swift watches my video. Of course. She's my #1 fan, #1 Shalligator. You never know. I mean, these people, they're out there Googling themselves. Like, you never know. We are a widespread 7 nation army around here, okay? So her and Joe, not much to know. I couldn't tell you one thing about Joe Alwyn except he looks like Simba. He seems fine. He seems nice. And the things that kind of came through in her songs about him, and listen, I'm not some sort of like Taylor Swift archivist where I know her collection inside and out. I'm a huge fan, but her recent albums, they're really not my style, like Folklore and Midnight. They're okay. But I am much more of a Speak Now, Red kind of girl, you know. But what seemed to stick out to me about Joe Alwyn is that he accepted her. He accepted her for who she is. And, you know, my reputation's never been worse. You must like me for me. And I think it's interesting who we date when we are not in a good place, right? Who we're attracted to, who seems like an emotional getaway car, who do we gravitate towards? And I think it shows a great deal of maturity on Taylor's part that when in 2000, I guess it was what, 16? Yeah, when all that shit went down. I mean, I'm talking like the Kim, Snake, Kanye, I made that bitch famous, that whole thing, when her reputation was genuinely very bad and people were just sick of her. She became like the Anne Hathaway of music. People were like, not this bitch again, right? Even though she was always so talented. She kind of like slunk out of the spotlight for a while, which is the smart thing to do from a PR perspective. But it's interesting that she didn't date a guy who was very public and who could like sort of rehab her reputation. That's the knee-jerk reaction of a lot of celebrities. And again, I think it shows great maturity and strength of character that she went for someone super low pro and she crafted a life that was not about the spotlight. And there was a quote, and I read it recently, I can't remember it verbatim, but she's like, you know, in 2016, my reputation was terrible, but I was actually very happy. But it was not how I had been taught happiness should look. It was a very personal thing, meaning it wasn't all over the gossip pages. It wasn't red carpet. It wasn't flashy. It was very private. And you know, when you're a celebrity, that can be hard to come by. That isn't how you're taught to be happy. Everything has to be upfront. Everything has to be out in the open. Everything has to be public. It's capture versus experience. And we can say that this is something specific to celebrities. Is it? Don't we all focus on how something looks versus how it feels? Hello, Instagram? Don't you go to a concert and you sit there like this, filming everything like you're gonna watch this footage back? You're not. What are you doing? Uploading it to YouTube? Come on. But this is how we live. I'm an influencer. I know this better than anyone. And I have accepted it. Like when I travel, it is capture versus experience, okay? I'm out here wearing these cute outfits. I'm freezing my dick off in Paris. But it looks amazing. That's the job. But that is the difference. That's my job. Like, it's my job to be out there and to make everything look great and not be grubby on camera. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to get these videos out for you versus spend a lot of time in hair and makeup. If I was a real professional, I could do both, but I'm not. I'm a clown, okay? I'm a clown. I'm sorry, but I love you. I'm sorry if there's a buzzing outside. It's the gardener. I did not know he was going to be here, and I've already started the video. And I can only do these videos once. If I try to do them again, my brain is empty. So I apologize. The lawn looks great, though. I can see why she thought it was going to work out. And listen, let me say up front, I'm going to parrot something Cameron Diaz said one time. Somebody was asking her about her relationship with Justin Timberlake ending. Remember when they dated? Probably not. But they dated for like 2 or 3 years. And someone said something, an interviewer, like, you know, how do you feel about your relationship with Justin failing? And she's like, failing? I don't think it failed. It was a very successful relationship. Just because you don't die together at 95 doesn't mean your relationship failed. Failure is not indicative of time and vice versa. It's about the quality of the relationship. She might not have even said all that. I could be adding to make her sound smarter, and that's okay. But I couldn't agree with that sentiment more. Like, if you don't die in each other's arms in a nursing home, your relationship is a failure? I don't think so at all. Why have we decided that that's the only measure of success is time? You can have 6 years with someone and you have an amazing friendship, and like the source in these stories said, it just runs its course. People grow up, they grow apart, seasons change. I am unbelievably different than I was 6 years ago. I mean, 6 years ago, I was freshly divorced. I was an editor at a magazine, which felt kind of like a dead-end job because I knew I wasn't going to advance. I wasn't going to make more money. I was going to be held down by the powers that be forever. I was living in New York City. Like, my life looks completely different now. Completely different. I can't imagine being with the same person and still being able to change in the way that I changed, to move states, to have different job, to like have a different hair color, like to lose weight. I don't know that any one of those things would have been possible had I had the same partner the whole time. But listen, there's just a lot we don't know about Taylor, except, you know what we know? You know what we know? She's doing the same call the paparazzi on myself shit. So Taylor has this tell that I have noticed because like I spent my career looking at pictures of Taylor Swift, like for celebrity journalism. And she has this tell that when she calls the paparazzi on herself, she holds her purse in a certain way. She loops it over her forearm and carries it like this. No woman carries a purse like that. Like, we really don't. We'll hold it like this. It'll loop this way, maybe, or we'll hold it in our hand, it'll be on our shoulder. We're not like stringing it there and walk. It's just a very odd way of doing things. I tried to do this the other day. After I saw the photo, I'm like, I'm going to hold my purse that way. I'm like, no, the fuck I'm not. This is so annoying. It turns my hand into a prehensile claw. You can't drop it down. The purse, it's just a nightmare. And she would do this years ago when she would go into gyms and pretend she was working out, because we would talk to sources in the gym. They're like, yeah, I saw her walk in. She sat in the locker room and like played on her phone, changed clothes and walked back out. She didn't work out at all. But she wanted to be like a gym girl, which is weird because she said in hindsight she did work out a lot, but I don't know. The whole thing was weird. But she would go around town, and when she had her purse like that, I'm like, this whole thing is staged. This whole thing is staged. And so here she is, the woman who we never, ever see. We never see her. No paparazzi shots, no pics with fans ever in 6 years, right? Have you? Suddenly, she's caught having dinner in New York City in these god-awful Lee jeans and Hobby Lobby butterfly appliques in this, I'm sure that purse was expensive. It looks ghastly. It looks like something from a kiosk in Jamaica. It's a no for me. In her little tell, out and about in New York. Girl, who in the hell are you trying to fool? If this is trying to be your revenge dress era, this outfit is not making any man miss you. No man is looking at this outfit unless he made it himself for you. This was like an anniversary present. He made you jeans and is like, damn, if you want help with revenge, I can give that to you, Taylor. Let me just sum it up thusly. Revenge never involves denim. You're 33. You should know this. A revenge outfit isn't jeans. It ain't jeans. I'd rather see you out there in nothing but a bodysuit and like thigh-high boots. Now that's a revenge outfit. Or a beautiful Oscar de la Renta gown for absolutely no fucking reason. Also a weird revenge outfit. He's gonna be like, where on earth is she going and with who? Rent a carriage, send yourself flowers. This is easy. You're failing at this. So the fact that she's doing this weird half-assed revenge dress thing tells me, well, it tells me a few things. It could tell us that Joe dumped her. Why else would you need to rub it in someone's face how good you look? I mean, that's what she thought. She thought she looked really good. She looked dumb. She's pretty, but she looked dumb in that outfit. That tells me he dumped her. It also tells me the old Taylor, the Taylor who needs an enemy, she's in there. She's in there. I'll never forget what Calvin Harris said about her. Do you guys remember when they broke up? It was so messy, so messy. And she was starting to like say things about him or plant stories, something like that. And he said, nope, not me, bitch. Just because you're off tour and you need someone to destroy, it ain't me, babe. Sell it somewhere else. Like he came out swinging against her, and that always stuck in my mind. You're off tour and you need someone to destroy. That she's like a nervous dog that like if you don't run them, they're gonna chew the house up, right? She's not off tour, she's on tour, but there's still shades of that. I always maybe need an enemy. I wonder if that's something that's going on right now. But let's talk about long-term relationships. How do you move on when you want to get out? I talk to you guys all the time, and it's like, I'm scared to leave. I'm scared to leave. I'm scared to leave. We've just been together for so long. I can't start over. How old are you? Are you under like 80? Are you under 80 years old? Okay, so you are. I'm going to guess you're maybe under, let's say 40. You're probably under 40. You're good. You are going to live 3 times as long as you've been alive. Let's say even twice as long. Let's just say even twice as long. You can't start over, so you're willing to live another, on the outside, 35 years like this until you die? Maybe 60 years? Sounds like a hell of a long time, girl. Because what, you've put in 2? Do you know anything about business? Do you know that that's not how investments work? That's not how investments work. You need to stop throwing good money after bad, as they say. Stop reinvesting into a Ponzi scheme, and you got to get the fuck out, girl. But it's going to be hard. Yeah, I know that. Everything worth doing is hard. Do you know? Everything worth doing is hard. Learning how to drive or learning how to have sex. going to college, building a house, having a baby. It's all hard. It's all hard. And people do it because there's something they want between them and the hard thing. Like there's something they want. What's harder is being miserable. I know because I've done it. Life is short, but it's real long when you're in a bad job or a bad relationship. And that doesn't mean the person is bad. And this is another thing that comes down to, well, he's not a bad guy. He doesn't have to be a bad guy. Peanuts inherently aren't evil. They're not poisonous, but they are to some people. They are to some people. So if you have a peanut allergy, are you just gagging down peanut butter and watching your body shut down? Because it's like, well, they're not bad for everybody. They don't have to be bad. They just have to be not great for you in order to be toxic. That is what toxicity is. Everybody else doesn't need to agree. Nobody needs to agree. You don't even need to agree. But I understand that that's difficult. That was my marriage. He wasn't a toxic person. He's an incredible person, but we weren't good for each other. And I had to make the decision, am I going to feel like this and let him feel like this? Because you don't have a marriage. No one has ever had a relationship where one person is blissed out and the other person is miserable. That just doesn't work. Unless one person is a complete sociopath and they don't give a fuck how you feel. In which case though, they're actually not happy. Sociopaths, psychopaths, studies show, are not happy people because happiness is predicated on solid connections and relationships. And if you're unable to form them, you're not happy. Power isn't the thing that actually generates happiness, but I digress. So if you think you're going to stay in this relationship because you don't want to hurt him, how dare you? You're hurting someone more. If you can acknowledge this is a good person, then fuck you for keeping them in a relationship where they're actually not being loved the way that they deserve. And I had to look myself in the mirror when I was married and say, fuck you, Shallon. What are you doing to this boy? He doesn't deserve this. He's a wonderful person. And really, at the end of the day, it wasn't I was just such a good person. I don't want to hurt him. I was selfish. I was selfish. I was selfish and I was cowardly. I was weak and I was an asshole. I didn't want anyone else to have him. I still don't. I am not one of those people who's like, I want you to be happy even if it's not with me. Nope. I'm like Drake. My exes belong to me and that goes on forever. But I can override that. I can say that might be how I feel. Okay, that's my human emotion, but that is not going to be how I act. That's not going to be how I act. I can act beyond my own impulses and beyond my own assholey feelings. And I can say, listen, it will kill me to see you with someone else, but it's killing both of us for you to be with me. Sometimes you got to be cruel to be kind. You think you're being kind, sticking around, you don't want to hurt him? No, you're not. Would you want to be in a relationship with that? What if you overheard your man on the phone being like, I really am not attracted to her anymore, but I don't want to hurt her? You would be humiliated. You would feel humiliated, like, please get away from me. I am not a charity case. This isn't a Make-A-Wish marriage, okay? I don't want this. Go. You don't want that. And you can't do that to him either. Because on some level, he's going to feel that if he doesn't already. And if you tell him he's not feeling it, you're gaslighting him. So again, if all of this is like, I love him too much, he's too good of a person. No, that's not what it is. Because if you really valued and respected this person, you'd let them go. It's fear. And again, girl, that's understandable. It's completely understandable. But I'll tell you what, leaving my marriage was the hardest thing I've ever done, but never at any point did I think I was making the wrong choice. Hard doesn't mean wrong. In fact, a lot of times, hard means right. It means you're on the right track. When I do something that's hard, it's because there's something I want on the other side of it. Going to the gym is hard. Eating well is hard. Making money is hard. But I know I'm on the right track. When something's too easy, when I'm in a drive-through situation, either literally or like, oh, this relationship, like, there's no real work I have to do here. That's not good. You're with a beta male. You're with someone who's not even listening to you, so he doesn't care what you say. He's not going to fight. He doesn't care. This job, oh, I can do whatever I want. You're not growing. You're not advancing. They're not challenging you. You're not being self-actualized and doing what you're put on this earth to do and achieve. Easy is a red flag. Easy is a red flag. Now look, don't misinterpret me and think that I mean like, oh, this fuckboy situationship, it's really hard, so it's right. Girl, no. That's not what we're talking about. Even good, healthy relationships are work, but it's the difference between a hardship and a challenge, you know? And I talked about this on my Instagram recently. A hardship is like, taxes, bosses, fuckboys, sorting your recycling, all that bullshit, folding the clothes. Challenges are things that they're obstacles between you and something great. The challenge is talking to my boyfriend about money so that we can start saving for a house. The challenge is raising this child and building a family, right? The challenge is training for this 10K so I can feel great about myself. The challenge is studying for the bar exam. That's not the same as a hardship. A challenge is something you purposely import into your life because you want what comes after that. That's what a healthy relationship is like. But I digress. If you have a feeling that you want to get out of a long-term relationship, get out. Get out. I know so many people, myself included, and they get out of a long-term relationship, and once it's difficult and the packing up and all of it, I get it. Once those hardships are over, you know what everyone says? I wish I would have left sooner. Because I was so convinced that there was nothing good on the other side of this, that I would never love again, that I would never have friends again, that I would never be okay again. And I am. I'm not just okay, I'm better. Because now, even though I'm single, even though I got my heart broken, whatever, I have the power to find something that really fits for me. And before, I just felt so powerless. And it's crazy because I had the power the whole time to leave and do this. And of course, it's terrible that I hurt him. But now I see that that ultimately is going to be better for him because he deserves to be happy. Everyone says this. No, but I don't think you're not special. That's a good thing. You're not an outlier to this rule. You're inside of it. You're not the exception. You are the rule. That's good. That means you will also feel this way. And you know what? If you really get out there and you date and you're like, I miss what I had, girl, you can get him back. You really can. You have a good year and a half to get back your ex. Honestly, feelings don't fade overnight. Even if they're mad, I've got a course on this. They just don't. What if this is a relationship you thought was going to go down the aisle and instead it's gone down the toilet? I wonder if that's what happened with Joe and Taylor. If they reached this impasse where it's like, I want to get married, and he's like, I don't. Or someone proposed and somebody said no. And they just kind of realized this is what it is. It has run its course. We don't want the same things. I wonder, because they were together for so long, and they lived together. And if she was like, I want a ring on my finger now, I don't know. There's just so many ways that this could have gone wrong. What do you do? I think we know that we are loath to give ultimatums. Now, this is what society has taught. Don't give an ultimatum. Don't give an ultimatum. Why not? What is an ultimatum? It's an if-then sentence. If X doesn't happen, Y is the result. We are given if-then constructs all the time. Here's an example, a stop sign. If you don't stop, then you will get a ticket. If you don't pick up your dog shit, then your neighbor is going to yell at you. We are confronted with if-thens at every turn. And yet, men have told